The Carolina Storyteller is a campfire-style storytelling podcast covering ghost stories, legends, and true crime. Some content may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi folks, welcome back to the show. I am Jonathan Phoenix, your Carolina Storyteller, and this is The Carolina Storyteller. I want to take a moment just to congratulate last week's winner, Dragon, winner of our big episode 50 giveaway. Just take a moment, everybody. Just congratulate them because they'll be getting that prize pack mailed out later today. Some pictures will be posted of it before it goes out so that everybody can see what's going out in the prize pack. And it's going to be awesome for them. And, you know, I've loved having their support and all of your support through all of this. And if you still want to get in on the Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/The Carolina Storyteller. Or just go to Patreon and search for The Carolina Storyteller. Just Google The Carolina Storyteller. And you can find all of the stuff on us. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us everywhere. We're everywhere. Sorry about that. Also, you know, it's been a busy week. I'm working on this new project, and we're getting ready to go into full production for my audio drama Valmont, which is based on a private detective who gets drawn into the underworld of the supernatural, dealing with vampires and werewolves and angels and demons. Oh my. And he has to kind of sort things out the only way that he knows how. And it's going to be really fun. We've got a really great cast. I've got some other podcasters that are joining in. We've got Josh from the Josh and Polly Show. We've got Thanks for the Smoke. We've got Corey from the NDT podcast. So just a lot of great podcasters are going to be in on it, as well as a whole bunch of friends. We have a vast cast. A bunch of newbies, a bunch of actually seasoned voice actors, and we've even got a official sound and editor tech that's going to be there. Our first table read is going to be in the next couple of weeks, and that'll probably end up on Patreon at some point in time. So if you're not on the Patreon, patreon.com/The Carolina Storyteller, if you're not Googling The Carolina Storyteller, you're going to miss out on that, because that's the only place you're going to hear that table read is going to be on the Patreon for The Carolina Storyteller. Now that we've done the housekeeping, let me ask you guys something. If you're sitting in your local sheriff's office for whatever reason, maybe you're a cop, maybe you're just there, maybe you got picked up on a drunken disorderly, and 11 people came in telling the same story from age 72 to age 4. Do you believe them? But there's a reason I ask this. There was an event that occurred in Hopkinsville, Kentucky on August 21st, 1955, where 11 people showed up at a police station claiming that they had had a harrowing experience. And ever since, it's been a very controversial topic. So let me tell you the story. At around 9 o'clock on the evening of August 21st, 1955, in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Billy Ray Taylor was at his friend's home when he and his friend Elmer witnessed a light streak across the sky and kind of come down in the woods near the house. They went to explore where the light was coming from, and it was emanating from just a little ways further in the woods when they noticed something moving around in the woods. It was about 2 foot tall, had pointy ears, spindly arms, and spindly legs, and a very stout body, and a large round head. Now, they immediately booked it back to Elmer's house, where they began to tell everybody they needed to get in the house. Something weird was going on. They didn't know what. And they locked and loaded, as Southerners do. Now remember, us Southerners, we like our rights to bear arms. And one of these guys was named Billy Ray, and the other one was named Elmer. So you should not be surprised that they were armed. And as they sat there, these creatures, whatever they were, came from the woods and began coming towards the house. So Billy Ray and Elmer opened fire. They shot at the creatures, and the creatures would seem to like duck and dodge and move out of the way. They didn't hit but one creature while firing hundreds and hundreds of rounds. Only one creature was shot as it made its way to the house, forcing Billy Ray and Elmer to kind of fall back into the house. The weird thing is that the creature that they shot merely hopped right back up and kept on coming. So they did fall back into the house, at which point in time others in the house began to see what was going on outside, and then they began to hear the creatures crawling around the house, crawling on the roof, crawling outside. They would see the heads of the creatures pop up in the windows. Billy Ray would fire a shot at it and it would be gone. They spent 3 hours being hemmed in by these creatures, firing gunshots when they would see them or when they would hear the sounds, just blowing holes in the side of the house. The children would see them in the windows and someone would come running and shoot a window out to try and shoot at the creature, keeping them away from the house. At one point in time, they shot and thought they hit a creature, and what they heard was the sound of the bullet hitting metal. Now, they didn't hear this outside because the creature was further away, but at this point in time, it was much closer to the house. Even the 72-year-old grandmother took up arms and fired on these creatures. Now, after 3 hours of this, the creatures kind of fell back towards the woods, and Billy Ray and Elmer loaded up the entire clan and hauled butt for the sheriff's station. They went into the sheriff's station and they reported the incident. And so the sheriff's deputies, 4 of them, and a state trooper made their way out to the estate in Hopkinsville. They searched the area. They did not find any evidence of any glowing craft in the woods, nor did they find any creatures. What they did find was a very shot up house that had been shot from the inside, evidence that the family had been barricading themselves more and more to the central of the house, that they were obviously defending themselves from something. Claw marks on the outside of the house from no one knows what, and a pool of some kind of viscous liquid where Billy claimed that he shot one of the creatures. Now, the liquid was never identified and it was never, collected or anything. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, maybe this was all hogwash. Maybe they were all high on the moonshine. But whatever was going on, the United States Army got a phone call. So 4 officers from the U.S. Army made their way towards Hopkinsville. Now, the police didn't know they were on the way. And the police basically said, well, we don't see anything now, so y'all should be all right. And the police left. But no more than 30 minutes after the police left, the creatures again began harassing Billy Ray and the family there at the home. And at 3:30 in the morning, they all packed up and left and abandoned the farm, never to return. Understand, this was a family's home. They had guests over. There were children there. They left everything there, packed up, and hauled boogie. So, what was it that happened? Well, the United States Army did go out and investigate. They went out and investigated. They checked the scene. Again, they did not find the liquid that the state trooper said that he did see. They found nothing except for a shot-up house. No evidence of a landing site in the woods, just a clearing that had some disturbed leaves. No evidence of silver men running around, nothing. The Army just said that nothing happened. Couldn't have happened. Suspicious. Experts began to theorize that perhaps because 4 of these people were carnies, that it was all an elaborate hoax. But do you really abandon your house for an elaborate hoax? No, that's what the Air Force said it was an elaborate hoax. Understand, in Project Blue Book, it's listed as a hoax. You know what they say about military intelligence, folks. It's an oxymoron. The military says it's an elaborate hoax. The military says, no, none of this ever happened, so this couldn't be real. But you don't run away from a house from an elaborate hoax. You just don't. It doesn't happen. So if they weren't running away from an elaborate hoax, what were they running away from? Well, this is where scientists kind of kick in their 2 cents. They say that the reason that they left was because they misunderstood natural phenomenon. And this could very highly be what happened. The natural phenomenon being the great horned owl. If you've never seen a great horned owl, it's a very large creature. And when you lift up an owl's feathers, you find out that they're mainly just feathers covering long, spindly legs. And, they're 2 foot tall when they're full size. They have pointy feathers that look like pointy ears. They can, kind of reflect like they're glowing. They have a very brownish gray coat, which could be mistaken for metallic in the dark, I guess. Not to mention that their eyes do glow at night, and they have been known to walk kind of on their legs across the ground when they're looking for prey. Now, here's my problem with this, okay? And this is my only problem with this, and it's just me saying it. I'm playing the devil's advocate here. I live in the South. I live next to a farm in the South. On certain nights when I go outside to smoke at 3 o'clock in the morning because I'm up all night because I work nights, and I sit out there, I have a visitor. He is a great horned owl. I call him Mr. Hooters. Yes, that's the name I've given this great horned owl. He visits me at night. He likes to perch directly in front of my apartment on top of my car and look around for prey. Sometimes he'll fly over to the swing set, which is right behind my car. There's also a handicap parking space 3 spaces down from mine with a sign in front of it, and he'll perch himself right there. And he'll look at me and he'll look around, and he's obviously looking for something to eat. And I will say, "Did you bring my Hogwarts letter?" And he won't say jack shit to me, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't know how to speak English. Either that or he's just rude. But I have seen him land down to grab prey. I don't know what he was grabbing. I'm just thinking, well, if he eats it, it's probably something I don't want here anyhow. Thank you, Mr. Hooters. You're doing a great service to me. And when he does go down to grab his prey, his wingspan is just massive. I swear his wings are probably as wide as I am tall. Just these massive long wings that extend out, and he will swoop down, he'll grab what he needs to grab, and then he'll flitter off doing his own thing. And, he's just my friend. One thing I've never mistaken Mr. Hooters for is a spindly-legged silver creature with arms. First of all, his wings are kind of thick. They don't look like thin little arms. Second of all is that though if I were to go and pick up all of his feathers, he would have those spindly legs. His feathers generally drape down and cover that fact. So it makes it really hard for me to buy the great horned owl explanation, even though it fits almost too well. The next explanation is that the light in the sky was simply just a meteor. And yeah, that does explain, light in the sky, meteor streaked across the sky, but they claim that they saw it land. They claim that they saw the glowing from the ground, and that's not explainable. Now, could they be, exaggerating what they saw? Sure. Of course they could be. But also, maybe there was something there. Who knows? UFOlogists love this case because they claim that this is definitive proof. You have 11 witnesses. 2 of them saw the craft on the ground. Multiple of them saw something streak across the sky. Okay? And they all 11 of them at one point in time saw the creatures around the house harassing them, constantly coming after them, for 3 hours time in one go and for another 5 hours in the second go before they just packed up, got the hell out of there, and never came back. This was such a big deal that the U.S. Army was brought in to investigate. Before news even got out, police officers, state troopers, they went out there, and there is obvious evidence that something happened on that farm on the night of August 21st, 1955. Now, understand, this is a group of carnies and rednecks all hanging out on a farm. There is not a possibility that there was alcohol involved. There is 100% certainty someone on that farm was intoxicated. But not everyone. I mean, certainly not the children. But maybe the children overheard the intoxicated grown-ups throwing a fit about what was going on, and maybe their perception of the events was defined off of what they were hearing from the grown-ups. I mean, children kind of take in their environment, don't they? You know, they kind of read into it. You know, if you tell a kid that you're fighting a monster and you're obviously fighting something, the kid is going to believe that the monster is real, even if you're not fighting a monster. You know, even if you're fighting a guy dressed as a ninja, the kid is always going to suddenly complain that to a monster, and he's going to start putting demonstrous things on it. And if you're describing this thing amongst yourselves as you're talking, did you see it? Yeah, it's got pointy ears and its eyes glow. Well, the kid, every time he sees it, he's going to notice these features, and he's going to begin to say, well, yeah, it had pointy ears and its eyes glow. So perhaps some of it is what they heard from each other and what they said to each other, and perhaps some of it is a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of moonshine, maybe a little bit of wacky tobacco. Who knows? You know, it is possible that this group of 11 people took some very natural phenomenon and some very strange acting animals and over-exaggerated it to the 11th billion degree. It is 100% possible. It is also 100% possible that these people experienced something. In fact, that's not 100% possible. That's 100% factual. What they experienced is the question. And this is something that I come upon a lot when I hear paranormal stories. Somebody goes, well, I was there and this happened to me and da-da-da-da-da. Well, what we need are the facts of what happened to you. We don't need you coloring it, but based off of the facts, something happened. And sure, some people lie about what happened, but 9 times out of 10, when somebody says, this thing happened to me, something happened to them. They had an experience. We have to admit the fact that these people, 11 of them, had an experience that night in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, where they were harassed by some kind of creature to the point that they had to defend their lives with firearms. Now, maybe it was owls, maybe it was aliens, maybe it was something that nobody ever came up with. The point of the matter is it was definitely not natural for any creature to act like that towards a group of humans in a home, and it is definitely not something that you hear about every day. So for the people who say, oh, well, that's just hogwash, for the United States Air Force that in Project Blue Book went, well, the whole thing's a hoax. Well, you don't shoot your house on a hoax, man. Sorry. You know, this is why we call you guys the Chair Force. No offense to my friends in the Air Force, it's a joke. But, you know, you guys in Project Blue Book kind of blew this one right off the book. It's not a hoax. It's an event that occurred. What occurred, that's what we don't know. Anyway, that's today's story, folks. I hope that you enjoyed it. Hope you found it informative. Hope you're not out there looking for little green or gray men with pointy ears and spindly arms. And if you are out there looking for them, remember, practice firearm safety. And, you know, maybe just don't shoot at them. Just lock your doors and close your windows and let them be. I don't know. I mean, just saying, shooting up your house is probably not the best way to deal with it. Also, don't drink and shoot. I'm just saying, you know, especially if you're in Kentucky, because we know you're drinking all the time anyhow. Again, that's the story, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to The Carolina Storyteller. You can find all about us at thecarolinastoryteller.com. You can support the podcast by going to thecarolinastoryteller.com on Patreon. And you can also check us out on YouTube under The Carolina Storyteller. I'm Jonathan Phoenix, and stay spooky, my friends. We'll see you next time.